just 21 miles wide, yet 20% of oil flows through at the Strait of Hormuz. If blocked, the world economy trembles. And today, the introduction diving deep into a geopolitical tinderbox that can blow up in our faces, quite literally. Imagine this, a massive explosion rocking a Japanese oil tanker in the very heart of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, picture this, Iran vowing to shut down this crucial waterway in response to new U.S. sanctions. It's a nightmare scenario that threatens to skyrocket oil prices, cripple supply chains, and potentially ignite a full-scale Middle East conflict. The stakes are sky high, and the clock is ticking. So, let us break down why this 21-mile stretch of water is more explosive than a barrel of gunpowder. First things first, let's get acquainted with the geography of this potential disaster zone. The Strait of Hormuz is located in the Middle East, connecting the Gulf of Oman to the west and the Persian Gulf to the east. To the north lies Iran, and to the south, Oman and the UAE. The strait is roughly 96 kilometers long, but its narrowest width is only 21 miles, making it a veritable choke point for global maritime traffic. Now, let's talk about what's at stake here. Every day, about 20 million barrels of oil, equivalent to 1/5 of the world's daily consumption, passes through this narrow strait. Oil tankers from the Gulf states laden with black gold transit through Hormuz to supply energy-hungry markets in China, India, Japan, South Korea, and Europe. In other words, the lifeblood of many economies, including some of the world's most influential players, flows through this tiny stretch of water. Fast forward to 2025 and tensions are reaching a fever pitch. The United States has slapped new sanctions on Iran, citing concerns over its nuclear program, and Iran is retaliating by threatening to close the Strait of Hormuz in response. This tit-for-tat game has the entire world on edge. Adding fuel to the fire, we have the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, a shadowy organization with a history of maritime mischief. They've been spotted deploying drones, missiles, and even sea mines in the region. Raising the stakes and amplifying fears of a catastrophic incident, and came the explosion on a Japanese oil tanker near the strait, stoking global panic and sending oil prices soaring by 15% in just 24 hours. In response, the U.S. has dispatched its Fifth Fleet to the region. Warships, submarines, and air defense systems are being deployed to safeguard shipping and deter potential threats. But will this be enough to prevent disaster? As the standoff intensifies, the world watches with bated breath. If the strait is blocked, oil prices could double overnight. Supply chains would be thrown into chaos. Manufacturers would be forced to scale back production, and economies would shudder to a halt. But the ripple effects wouldn't end there. The already tense relationship between the U.S. and China could spiral into a full-blown trade war. China, heavily reliant on oil imports from the Middle East, might retaliate against U.S. sanctions, targeting American allies and disrupting global financial markets. And then there's the looming threat of a full-scale Middle East war. As regional tensions escalate, the risk of a broader conflict draws nearer. If Iran closes the Strait of Hormuz, it would undoubtedly trigger a military response from the United States and its allies, drawing in regional powers and potentially igniting a regional inferno. Developing countries like Bangladesh would bear the brunt of this energy crisis, facing power cuts and fuel shortages that could cripple their economies and exacerbate social unrest. However, not all is lost. The United Nations, along with major players like China and India, are working tirelessly to push for de-escalation. Diplomatic efforts are underway to urge Iran to reconsider its actions and seek a peaceful resolution. Despite these efforts, the situation remains as volatile as a tinderbox, threatening to erupt into chaos at the slightest spark. What's the takeaway here? The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a body of water. It's a global trigger point where economic prosperity meets strategic confrontation. The actions of a few can send ripples across the entire world. As we navigate these turbulent times, it's crucial to stay informed and prepared. Keep an eye on this 21-mile stretch because the fate of the world economy could hinge on its fate. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the introduction, where ideas begin and the future unfolds. Subscribe now and stay ahead of the curve.